All right, boys, let's move on to receivers.
Right.
All right, Jim, I'll let you lead this one off. You can go up high, down to the mid. I don't know. Let's take it down to around the 6,500 range. Anyone up above 6,500?
So Stefan Diggs is somebody I'm going back to this week to pair him with Josh Allen. We kind of talked about it already. He didn't really do a whole lot last week, but he's tied for the first in highest projections that he can hit ceiling for this week at about 33 to 34 points. He's a guy that I don't really care what the defense is. He's a good enough athlete. It's going to be nice and warm down in Miami. It's a really fast track down there. I think they're going to get him going, and I think it's going to be a pretty productive week for him. And then Vinnie's point, there's some other obvious plays. I think a less obvious play is A.J. Brown. Again, they're going to have to throw. He's one of those guys that he just has the opportunity to go absolutely nuclear.
And Julio's in the doghouse.
Yeah, apparently. And look, Julio doesn't he's one of those guys where if that starts happening, I think he's a guy that'll just kind of shut down. AJ Brown, he's got a good chemistry with Tannehill. It's definitely a boomer bust play. I mean, I don't think he's got a very high floor. I mean, we saw it last week, right? 8 or 9 points, but we're trying to win a GPP. So him and Diggs are my two guys that I'm going for up above 6,500.
All right, Vin, above 65.
I dig it. I will go probably my top guy. The highest one I'm going to go is DK Metcalf. It's 7,600. But it's a crapshoot, right? Flip of a coin, or you have to play them both with the Seahawks and who's going to go off. Lockett was last week. I don't remember in history when Lockett goes bananas 2 weeks in a row.
Lockett only had 4 catches.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
low percentage.
DK is the guy there. He's the mismatch nightmare. Like we talked about the Titans corners, like who the hell is going to cover this guy? So I'm all over DK if I'm going up this week. I also do love Keenan Allen at 7K. He's one of my top plays. We talked about it. Obviously, you have a few of the high-end running backs, but if I can get the more mid tier running back, I will try to get those two guys into as many lineups as I can this week.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen, he had 9 catches last week, and that's the floor.
Yeah.
That dude can get you a 17, 18 catch game, and you wouldn't even be really surprised.
Well, look, Jared Cook's there, sure, but and you have Eckler that's going to take a few, but that's maybe 8 targets combined, 10 targets combined, the two of them. You've got about 30, 35 passes that are going to go to him and Mike Williams for the most part.
And Keenan Allen, in every crucial situation, he runs some of the nastiest routes in the NFL. In any short yardage situation, he's getting the ball.
Yeah.
He just gets open. So Keenan Allen's going to get the volume. I love that play, then.
Yeah. So that's right. I have a few other guys I like up there, but those are my two favorites above 6,500.
Okay. My favorite above 6,500 is Adam Thielen. He got 30 points last week. Adam Thielen's a beast. We all love Adam Thielen. Great matchup. I think that game's going to go high scoring, just like I talked about in the beginning. Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball, and he's going to give the ball to his receivers. Unlike some other quarterbacks I know, he actually throws to his X and Z's. So I think Thielen's going to have a big week.
Hey, now.
So, yeah, that's my guy above 6,500. And the other guy is Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin at 6,600. Again, that Tampa Bay game, Tom Brady. Chris Godwin's in a contract here. I've been all over it since before the season started. Chris Godwin's legit, and he's going to go off all year. So I'm all over that as well. Jim, let's move below 6,500, but let's try to stay above the 5K range.
Okay. So, I pretty much anybody in this Cowboys game is going to be attractive, but everyone's going to like those players. I'm going to go back to Deonte Johnson. We just saw the Raiders get absolutely torched all over the field by Lamar, who just can't really throw. Yeah. Marquis Brown in particular, he was running a lot of the crossing routes, a lot of the mid to intermediate stuff. That's Deonte Johnson's sweet spot right there, right?
The Raiders linebacker situation is just it's a mess, and they don't really know what they're doing as of yet. The new D coordinator, and they're running around with their heads cut off.
They signed Perriman, which he's been in the league.
No, they played decent. They played decent, but they're not up to par yet. You're right. No. And Deonte Johnson will definitely have his this week.
Yeah. So he's a guy that I like. And then I like Allen Robinson. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like the sexiest play in the world, but look, we're looking for volume. Yeah. Right. If Andy Dalton is going to be the one in there, this is the same Andy Dalton that threw in a year gave AJ Green 170 targets, 170 targets 1 year. I mean, he has his guys. He latches onto those guys, similar to how Carr does with Waller. Right. It's just somebody he starts to feel comfortable with and forms a connection. Allen Robinson's their guy, intermediate, short, whatever it might be. He's who they're going to feed the ball to. So those are the two guys in that range that I really like. There's some other guys down further, but Vinnie, I'll let you go and see if you got anything above 5,500 that you like as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the Cowboys receivers. Obviously, Lamb sitting there at 6,400 is just jumping off the page at me. I like Cooper Kupp at 6K.
Oh, you
bitch. We literally I could just continue that conversation. Guys that just latch onto someone and they just absolutely love, like, I don't know, like Stafford obviously just gravitated right to this. How could you not? I mean, he's always open.
So good, dude.
So 10 targets right out of the gate. He's facing a lesser defense or, defensive backfield, I think. He's going to get 8 to 10 targets guaranteed. So at 6K, it's like, okay, I'll take that, so might be one of my favorite plays of the day, honestly, at 6K.
I love that. I think the one matching that one's got the same price, Antonio Brown. I mean, Antonio Brown looks so good on Thursday night. I mean, he looked right back into form. And I mean, I hate the guy as a Raider fan, but like you said earlier, Vin, you got to play with your head, not your heart. So Antonio Brown is legit. He won me some money in my showdown on Thursday. So I'll be riding a lot of Antonio Brown at 6K. That Tampa Bay game, they're about to light up the Falcons.
Yes. Yep. I don't disagree. All right. Jim, or sub 5,500.
Yeah, sub 55. And this will be our kind of last category of the receivers.
Bottom of the barrel.
So sub 55, there's a ton of guys like right there that I love. And I'm just going to play a smattering of these guys. I mean, I'm definitely going to be playing Jamar Chase with Burrow. I think Corey Davis is going to have a nice game against New England. He seems to be the target there. Devonta Smith, I think, against the Niners can do quite a bit of damage. We talked about that a little bit. But if we're going all the way down, there's a guy that's mispriced. It's Cedric Wilson at 3,100.
Whoa.
So I know that we like the other Cowboys wide receivers, right? But Gallup is on IR. He's done. Cedric Wilson is the legitimate third receiver that plays, right? He's got a ceiling of like 17 to 20 points.
Yeah, he was getting snaps even before Gallup got hurt.
And then once Gallup went out, he had 5 targets last week, 3 catches. He's a guy at there's some other names down here at like 3,000, 3,100 that are very scary. He's just, the pricing came out after the Gallup news of him going on IR. So the algorithm didn't catch it, right? So he's going to have a big game this week. What I'm going to do, I sent you guys the lineup already. I'm going to triple stack the Cowboys receivers and do a full game stack. So it'll be Dak with CeeDee Lamb, Cedric Wilson, and Amari Cooper, and then running it back with Eckler and then Keenan Allen on the other side. They all can still produce because they're all at different levels, and I think it can all work. And it's a way in one of my larger 3 maxes that I can get kind of weird and just get all over that game. But I think Cedric Wilson, like if you just need a guy to make it work somewhere else, I think he's a great guy down there at 3,100.
All right, I like that. I'm just going to mention one guy. It's Jalen Rieger.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We were really on Rieger last year, right? And just the Eagles' offense was just bleh. But the Eagles' offense is very exciting. Devonta Smith on the other side, they're going to have to account for him Rieger showed out last week. I know it was later in the game. He really started showing out in the second half. But, I mean, we all know the speed that guy has and the big playability he has. 4,100 is too cheap. He's going to get his targets. And the Niners secondary is not great. And Verrett just got hurt. They're banged up. So I think Rieger has some good upside this week.
I like that one, Joe.
Vin, you got any guys down there?
Yeah, Jim, you mentioned the Burrow call I really like. I think one guy to keep an eye on, he had kind of a quiet week last week, was Tyler Boyd, 4,700. It's going to be kind of a, revolving door there of who's going to get, go off. It might be two of the three, but 4,700, he dropped in price, and I think he's a really good player in the slot there for Cincy. So he's interesting there. And then the two guys that I'm going to be using quite a bit as my salary savers this week is KJ Hamler at 3,800. I think Jim jumped off there. KJ Hamler at 3,800 and Hunter Renfro at 3,600.
So KJ Hamler, I like KJ Hamler a lot.
Yeah.
Last week, were you watching when he dropped the touchdown pass?
I did.
And it was one of those ones where you just go, I don't know if I'm ever going to play this guy.
No, I know. I get it. Good. Hamler is going to start with Judy out. He's 3,800. He's going to be in the slot. He's a burner. But I have more interest in 3,600 Hunter Renfro. I think, again, Pittsburgh's defense is really good. But I think Carr is going to be under a lot of pressure on Sunday. And that leads me to believe, yes, Waller may get another 20 targets or whatever he got. But Renfro got like 10, 11 targets. He is the safety outlet. So
no, he's got sure hands. He's not going to drop the ball.
Dude, so yeah, I'll take, in a PPR format, like Hunter Renfro at 3,600 is just like, he's just, for me, a layup down there. So I'll have him in there to save some cap at the bottom, but that's really it.
Good call. All right, let's move on to tight ends.
Before we move on, there's one guy who's coming back this week that I think a lot of people.
Oh, don't say it, dude.
I think Vinnie loves this guy, and he just went into the dark. Will Fuller's back, so he's a big boomer bust touchdown guy. I just don't know if Tua can throw the ball that far. That's maybe a problem. I don't know how much interest I'm going to have, but he will be virtually unowned if you are somebody playing in one of those bigger tournaments. If you're going to take some shots into the Millie Maker, this is a great guy to do it with because he has legitimate like 24 to 25 point upside if he goes off, and no one's going to know about him because he was suspended for week 1.
And on our Twitter account, if you want to feel the double pain, I did post a poll asking what quarter Will Fuller is going to get hurt in. So feel free to comment on there if you would like returning. But,
yeah, there's like 2 laws of DFS. If you play Raheem Mostert or Will Fuller, just expect the unexpected or expect the expected.
Yeah, exactly.